All right.
All
Oh,
right.
thank you for joining us today. I know we just watched a video of you being interviewed, but do you think you could tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here and for being here online. That's really cool. And first, I also want to say sorry that Jason can't make it. He's actually also doing overtime. That's why I look a little tired. He's working late and he couldn't make it. So I'll be here to answer any of your questions. So my name is Richard Arroyo. I'm a senior director at Ubisoft, senior art animation director. Recently finished working on Watch Dogs. I also direct, motion capture sets. I'm on set. I do some marketing stuff for Ubisoft as well. Um, and I'm also a manager at iAnimate. I created the iAnimate Games program. So when anyone that has gone through iAnimate, and you have done the games program, well, that comes from a lot of the stuff I've learned and taught. And now obviously it's a mixture of from different studios, whether it's Riot, Bungie, Blizzard, Ubisoft, obviously, since that's kind of where I came from. And I've been doing this for, over 20 years. And yeah, I'm by nature, I'm an animator. And like said in the video, my hands move a lot like like if I was Italian. So yeah.
Brett, could you tell us a little bit more about what iAnimate is?
So iAnimate is an online school, right? We teach animation. It's really more advanced. Anyone can join, right? It doesn't matter if you have zero experience or you have a lot of experience. So yeah, we teach animation. We teach creature animation. We teach game animation. We also have a motion capture workshop. We will be announcing that we have also a blender for animators, especially those who are in Europe or looking to try to jump into the European market, and they use a lot of blenders. So we have that. So really, we're a school that teaches how to become a professional animator and to be industry ready. And I think that was something I mentioned, and that is there's a huge difference. And I know sometimes it doesn't make sense. You think that you go to a school or you have a degree or a piece of paper and you're ready. That's not true. But yeah, so iAnimate is an online program.
Yeah, that seems to be like a big thing we've been hearing on repeat this week is you don't need to go to art school to get a job, to get an art job. Like you
No,
don't need to go to
no,
like a 4 year.
no,
Yeah.
you don't. Now I'll say this, right? If you have that opportunity to go to an art school, go for it, right? There is a beautiful experience in there, right? Now, because I've taught at the college here in Montreal, and I actually encourage those who also can, if they can go to a college or a university, to also supplement your training and get training online or whatever, right? And the reason why is there's a big difference between school and professional training, right? School is about grades and it's a school or brick and mortar might have certain rules or mandates they need to meet. Industry doesn't. It's either you got it or you don't. So if you go to a professional place to learn, you're going to learn differently. You're going to learn from a director. Like I animate, everyone is pretty much either a director, a supervisor, or at that level. And they all have a lot of experience. We have people with even more experience than myself. Like I think like Ted right now is really busy, but he's been teaching with us for many years. And I think he's like over like 32 years experience. You're not just going to learn from someone a software. When you go to school, sometimes you learn a software or how to kind of discover yourself. We will help you with that. Plus, we will make sure that you understand what the industry wants. So you do not have to go to a brick and mortar. You don't have to go to university, but there is some great things that you get out of it, right? There is that experience, hanging out at the cafeteria, meeting other artists, being exposed to different things, in life, or hanging out, hearing different stories. I think colleges, university are phenomenal for that. That is great. When you're online, you could still get it, but it's just not the same thing to sit down and have a coffee with someone and just talk about your day or your week or what you're working on, when compared to when you're online.
And just to double check, iAnimate, that was iAnimate.net.
Yes, ianimate.net. That's right.
Great. All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of these Q&As over here.
Wonderful. And guys, you guys ask me anything except my weight and age. So, I'll give it to you straight.
Our first question we have is, how does one get into motion capture career from a modeler or animator background? They say there doesn't seem to be any accessible programs or hardware or classes for it.
Well, so for a modeler to get into motion capture, I don't see a modeler go into motion capture for one reason, right? There's not enough work for a modeler to be in motion capture. Now, for an animator, that is something totally different. Now, we do have a motion capture class which you can take, and you can learn how to use the software, and then also how to animate and embellish a performance, right? So a motion capture animator often deals with motion capture. We do have many studios, even like Ubisoft, we do sometimes just keyframe directly in not motion capture, but in motion builder, so we can, create our piece. But if you want to get into motion capture and that kind of VFX industry or game industry, you have to understand that modeling and animating in this context, they're not the same. To get into there, I think, you could find obviously you could probably find a school. We teach it, and you can join that school to help you learn how to animate with the software and what it means to animate in software. So if you want to become a motion capture artist, that's step one. Step two is you should also learn there's a huge technical side inside motion capture, right? There's the setup, how many markers you have, where they go. And that field is going to be something quite interesting for animators, right? That's why we've been teaching that almost 10 years, the motion capture class, because I know where it was going and where it's going now. You can see motion capture suits soon, they're like, I know when you're a student, it's a lot of money, right? It's like maybe $4,000. But when you compare it to what we do at Ubisoft, and I have, it's a crazy, anyone seen on my Twitter, I post sometimes some pictures. It's huge and it's very expensive, but you can actually get a suit, do your own capture of yourself, your own performance, and then make a piece out of it. Now think about that. If you can have your own suit, and you're going to become, which is soon is going to be even more common, remote animators, you can act your own performance, clean it up, and send it to your client. So I think motion capture has so much room, so much growth that's going to happen there. The question is, it's going to take some time, but if you want to learn motion capture, you have to understand there's a technical side and artistical side. And you want to know, where do you want to go? If you want to go technical, then you're going to, there's a lot to talk about if you're going to go technical. If you want to be artistical, learn the foundation of animation and then add motion builder on top of that, because the foundation of animation does not change. It doesn't change if you're in one software or another. The principles, how to create a performance, how to create story, how to create great animation, how to create a great piece is always the same. So learn animation. The software is just a tool. That's all it is.
Great. That sounds awesome. That iAnimate offers like does your class provide like material, like recorded material, like a motion captured?
Yes, we do. We want to make sure that animators, when they take the motion capture class, is to make sure that they come in not distracted. Now, what happens often when you're a young animator, young artist, and I was one of them, you try to take on way too much, right? You're not focused. You got to really be really focused. So what we do, we provide the artists with clips and precise assignments to help them build their ability to use the software. So if one day you come and let's say you work on one of my projects at Ubisoft, and I ask you to fix something or change something, you can, right? So we do offer animation clips and things like that. Brent George, is also a director. He was also a director previously at Ubisoft and at Warner Brothers and IDOS. So he makes sure that you can have that clip, learn from it, how to push it, how to use it, how to keyframe and add performance on top of it. So we provide everything for the students to be in a successful learning environment.
Great. This next question is asking, is it possible to get internships in any studio after finishing college or university? since they're not easy, it's not an easy field to get into?
Internship? No, no. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys, right? Not many will be honest. Internship is not like it used to be, right? A big studio, it's hard. One, it's not like we really need an intern, because having an intern means I have to train you. We talked about being industry ready, right? Either you're ready or you're not. For me, as you know, I'm thinking like, you know, putting that big hat and that the weight on my shoulder. Either you were ready to work on this project, to be on this team, right? You know, when like Watchdog is a big team, right? And, you know, there's the Toronto studio, the Montreal, Sofia, Bucharest, you know, London. We have different studios, and I might be directing another team like in Bucharest and talking to video. I don't have time to coach you or hold your hands to get there. So internship is not something that I see happen. I do when I can, depending on the studio, and I have done it when I was working at Obsidian, bringing interns and then, you know, train them and help them. And if they can be ready, then hire them. But you're not going to see a lot of internship. What I've done, or I said in our podcast, is you have to find a way to get real experience. So you need to, instead of looking at a big studio, you should be looking at smaller studios that are much more open in letting you come in and work. They probably won't pay much. Maybe they don't pay at all, depending on where you are, what state or which country. But realize that experience is going to be worth it, right? I done an internship. My story was I woke up 5 a.m. to show up at the studio at 6 a.m. This was like 20 something years ago. And I animated and I learned and I trained, you know, I went to get my own training, my own experience to get the job, right? They did not hire me right away. Is that I made myself an internship, right? I went there, I said, I don't want to be paid. I want to learn. But by learning, the value I got out of that learning was way more than getting paid $5 an hour. Back in the days, it was like $5 an hour. I don't think what it is right now, but it's like if I said, like, if I did 10 hours, I got $50. When you're young, you're like, oh my God, $50 a lot. But I didn't get paid, you know, had my cheese sandwich, you know, I didn't get paid. But when you convert it into the training, the value of the learning, the value of the experience, the value of the training I got out of it was way more worth than the $50 I would have gotten at the end of that week, right? So if you want to get an internship and you're having a hard time, you got to look at it differently. You got to look at it as where can I learn a lot and really get the real skills that you know, that will give me a real job or help me get that job that will pay, right? So internships, I don't even see it. I don't even like you know, I do offer to be an apprentice, right? I have someone that I train that follows me on set, and you know, we do 3 hours a week so I can train her to become a director. But she's a full-time employee. She's not just, you know, coming out of college or school. So understand, you don't want to say, I just graduated. What you want to think and not say, don't just say it, but you want to be able to do it, is say, or be, I'm industry ready, right? You might not be, you know, super senior level, but you'll be like, hey, I could take on this. You should be excited to like say, hey, I can work on this project. I might not get the best shot, but I will get to work on it, learn and grow. So internship, go into the indie industry, you know, that's where I would go if you're trying to get experience. That's how I would try to do it.
Awesome.
I know it sounded really mean.
No,
really hard.
I think people like hearing that kind of advice, actually, because you preemptively answered my next question, which is like, if internships aren't a thing, what's the pathway? And it sounds like you answered that by saying,
yeah, like, you know what, like if you want to say, hey, I want to get into you know, film, right? And you just finished, right? You finished college, right? You finished college in September or June, and you haven't landed anything. Well, you should be in. This is what I did, and this is actually, I have an artist that emailed me and say, hey, Rick, I want to work with you. I don't want anything from it. I just want to work and learn so I can get experience, right? Archie, his name is Archie. You're going to see some of the stuff on our Instagram. He's a sound designer. He's not an animator, he's a sound designer. He wants to work and he's trying to get enough experience. So, you know, maybe when he gets into ILM, emailed me and say, hey, I want to work with you. And I was like, I respected that. I was like, I know now everyone's like, I'm going to email Rick, but I respected that. Now, the fact that he realized that the experience that he's going to get, and I'm going to share some of those videos, just to kind of give you a little behind the scenes. He realized that, yes, he did graduate. He did really well at school, but he was nowhere close to what you would to have the skills to say you'll be hired at a major studio. Nowhere close. And this is very common throughout the world, man. Like, so yeah, like if you make your own path, find someone, or if you can't find someone, find a group of a fellow artists and say, hey, let's make a very, very small short, 30 seconds. Don't model nothing, because you're animators. Don't model nothing. Don't try to do anything special. Just make a nice small piece, right? And I can tell you one exercise, right? No sound. I want you to take the character right here, right? Find some kind of emotion and just make the character emote to camera, right? Like, oh, whatever. Like, just really short. If you can show me that you could do emotions and you send that piece, I'm like, wow, that's a good piece. Now I know where you're at. Then you just keep doing those, just doing small exercises. You need experience. And like I said before, just because you have a little piece of paper that said I graduated, right? No one cares. No one, like the industry don't go in any interview. No one's going to ask your grade. No one's going to ask your grade. No one's going to say, have you graduated? The industry don't ask that. What they ask is, what can you do? Show me. Straight.
Yeah, that's amazing and some really good
I know.
advice.
I know. Everyone's like, "What is going on? This guy is mean," But that is the truth, though, and that's why, like even before doing iAnimate, before building iAnimate, I used to train animators at Ubisoft. Actually, a lot of the training that I did at Ubisoft and some of the stuff I'm doing right now, it went into iAnimate. Like iAnimate came, Jason started iAnimate and I came in and became a partner. It came out because we needed people to be industry ready. I needed artists. When I was when I left Ubisoft and I went to Obsidian, we had the internship. I trained them. I trained animators because they weren't ready. I was like, hey, you need to like get this down. Like, this is how I want it. And they're like, this animator is like, oh, I'm so happy I get animated. Like, no, you get to animate, but you don't own the shot. This is not yours. It's not even mine. Right? Even though I'm the director, it's not even mine. It belongs to the studio. So you have to be ready. Right? I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I don't know how to say it in any other way.
No, I think what you're saying echoes a lot of what other people have been saying from other fields too. I mean, I think last night we had like a storyboard director saying like his advice was just draw the dang thing. Earlier today we had someone say become a creator. Someone said like make something so people will notice you. I mean, you're giving them ideas for like a small project. I think that's just making something's the first step.
Yeah. It's not about the end piece. It's about the journey and what you learn from it. It's better to make a million mistakes now and that you realize they're not mistakes, they're actually learning, right? If you do one, like I said, you might do one walk cycle and it could look great, but you only did one and it took you a week or 2 weeks or a month, right? The person that did a walk cycle 1,000 times eventually, and this is why when they ask you like, here's an animation test, right? It's like, how long do I have? It's like, oh, we'll give you a day. And you're like, what do you mean a day? Like a day for what? Well, you need to do the idle, the walk, the run, and the jump, or maybe an attack, right? Like the walk, idle, walk, run, and attack. A day. Let me see what you got. And then we're like, oh my God, like I've done all those animation at school. Like I did a walk, I did a run, I did an attack, but I had a year, you're not ready, right? You have to be willing to accept that, there's a lot to learn. And even like myself, it's been a long time. I'm still adding to the repertoire of skills and things I need to do. You just got to just do it. And I just do it right now. Someone's like, I'm like, how do we do this? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't done that one before. So, all right, we'll do it. Even the podcast, like, we were talking about someone animated on Peanuts. And I was like, that's hard, right? And he's like, yeah, it's hard, but you have to learn. You got to try it. So you got to be brave.
I'm going to jump into the questions in a little bit But I
Yes.
wanted to ask, you already mentioned finding smaller studios and kind of like doing the work there and working your way up. Do you
Yeah.
also feel like it might be worthwhile? Because we hear this from other practices of like finding something like a PA job or something. Do you find that valuable? Do you think a lot of people who
To be
tend to
like a
make that
real
jump,
personal assistant?
or
Like a,
like a production assistant? Uh,
oh, okay, like a production assistant to kind of like this, do some of the tracking, the paperwork and the emails and stuff like that in
yeah,
that
we hear
sense?
that a lot from we hear that a lot from like TV animation, feature animation people.
Yeah.
That like that's
Yeah.
one way in. Do you see
That
that
is
in
one way.
your? Do you see that as well? Like, do you see people making that jump from?
So I mean, certain industries, yes, that's good. For one of the first reason is network, right? Connect, right? First, your I was gonna say colleagues, but your fellow students, right? Everyone you take care of each other, man. If you know someone is cool, be cool with them, right? And if someone like having a little hard time, don't be shy to help out. And then one day it will pay forward. Now, if someone's a jerk, well, he's gonna be a jerk. You're gonna choose who you're gonna work with. So that's network is really important. So if you can get a PA job, and actually that's how one of my buddies, he was a PA. He helped me, right? Seb, who also then became an instructor many years, but he followed me when I was traveling around the world. I was going Europe. I was going here in Canada, and then I was living in the States, and I would meet other directors, and we'll do like some interviews or talk and share. He literally sat right there. I mean, he didn't say much at that time, but he followed me. He helped me, and then eventually I was like, yeah, it's like. I would like, Seth, what do you think? Right. And then he had that opportunity to grow, and then his network grew, his opportunities grow. So that is one great way to get in. If you can be a PA or an apprentice, right? I mean, I know it's not something that's very common, but if you can do that, that's a great way to start, especially in TV. But realize that if you're going to just, do like helping out on paperwork and emails, you're not practicing, right? You have to be ready to like get up early, right? And then make time to say to your craft, right? You got to make time to that craft and practice it. Working as as a PA or as a runner, just kind of helping out is great to make connections, but doesn't mean that you're going to get that job. It just means that you're good at that. You want to still take that opportunity to meet the people and then say, hey, Friday night, right? You go to your desk, you do your work on your animation, you wake up Saturday morning, work on your stuff, go for a little quick lunch, go for a jog, come back. You got to realize that is an investment to your career and to your future. And then when you do all that and you have to have that PA job, then you go to the person you're working with. It's like, hey, like, can you look at this? Tell me what you think. Can I get 10 minutes of your time? I would really appreciate that. And then I talked about being concise, like, hi, hey, Rick, over the weekend, I worked on this little piece. I would love to get your input on it. Right. Oh yeah. Cool. Let me look at it. All right, cool. Well, I can't look at it now. It's like, okay, totally understand. Would it be possible to schedule something? You gotta be quick and smart, right? You're gonna say, oh, okay, cool. Maybe next time. No, right? This is your chance. You gotta be brave, right? Be brave, polite, professional. Well, no, okay, totally understand. When would be a good time that I can, just get 5 minutes of your time? I would be really grateful for it. And they said, all right, you know what? Thursday. All right, Thursday for lunch, man. You show up on time with your things, and they'll be like, I don't have time, but I did make a promise. And then you say, look, all I want you to do is tell me if what you think about, my posing, my story, or the idea. Don't give them something big and finish. Give them something small that they would enjoy looking at. First impression is everything, right? You're already there. Give me a first impression. Give me a small piece and tease me. If it's good, I'm gonna be like, good. If it's not good, I'm gonna be like, oh, you need to work on this. Then you say thank you and you work on it as soon as possible, and you come back with the correction and you show them that correction, and you'll be like, now you're gonna get my attention because now you're listening, right? And you think it's easy. Let me tell you, no, right? I'm run a school, I'm an owner, and I bring in talent into Ubisoft or a different studio. I do master classes, and it's always the same. I'm like, just do that. Do they do it? No one does it. And then the one person that does it, I'm like, oh, I like you. You're not even ready, but you're already here. You're right there, you know? And then I help you. So I think just do that. Just you got to make your opportunities happen.
Awesome. Great advice. Earlier, you were talking a little bit about, you know, making these small self-assignments and doing them as shots as if they were productions. This next question is asking, do you feel like schools should teach more like that, assigning shots as if they were productions?
Yes and no. I mean, remember, school is supposed to help you find yourself, right? There is when, especially if you think it's like a brick and mortar, right? It's like it's to help you find yourself. Um, when you come to like us, it's to craft your skills, right? You will find yourself as you go, or the experience you find. But schools is supposed to help you find yourself. There is something that would be good is that you learn that you don't own the shot. You fight for it, in a sense that like you always have to make sure that you're on top of things. I like the idea is like, if you're not doing good work, you can't do that piece, because in the studio, if you're like, and it has happened, right? I'm like, okay, what's going on? And Charlie, like, you're not on time, you're late at work, your animation's soft. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, you know what? You can stop right now, right? I want you to go, I want you to clean these shots out. And I just remove the shot. I don't, as the director or an owner or responsible for something, I don't have the luxury for that. School doesn't teach you that, right? You can come to school late, you can, party all night, or just kind of like wait last minute. But you don't realize that in the real world, if you do that, you're out. Anyways, in the big studios, which you're trying to get in, you're like, you out, so should they do that? I'm not sure. I mean, you're in a school, right? The school is to help you find you. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
Going back to your school, to iAnimate.
Yes.
This person wonders, are there any prerequisites or requirements for them to join any courses that you offer over at iAnimate?
No, really. First, I mean, there's you need to be a certain age. If I remember correctly, you need to be I don't know if it's 16 or 17 and older. But you have to be a certain age, because we have a big mix, right? We have people that they just finished college and it's not working out. They didn't they realize they're not ready, so they come, and then they get the training here, and they're going to be taught by the directors and realize there's a difference. And we also have a lot of professional animators that just realize, like, hey, the industry is really pushing it. Sometimes they've been in the industry for 10 years and now they want to become a lead, and they come to us. So there is, you can join anytime. We have beginners class, right? If you don't know Maya, we have an introduction to Maya class. And then if you're new to animation, we have, introduction to, animation or feature animation, which is, feature 1, feature 2, to help you build up into the real complex shots. We don't say, hey, here's how things move, now animate whatever you want, which is kind of a little bit more how some schools are. Like, they'll say, okay, here, you're going to do this, you're going to do a walk, you're going to do a jump, right? Now, all right, you're on your second year or your third year, and you're about to graduate. Animate a piece, right? Animate your thesis or a little short. We don't work like that. We want to make sure that you enter the level you want. So if you already have experience, you can enter at a higher level. You have no experience, you can enter at the base and create your foundation.
Awesome. There's a lot to look forward to there. This next person wants to know if you might have any sort of exercises for animation or for art that are like, that would only take a few hours, something like going to the animation gym, is what they say.
Oh, so like yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of animator you want to be, right? So I'm going to brainstorm this really quick. Things that you could do to improve. Well, one, observation, right? You should sit down. I remember when CTN was everyone's there. Sometimes I will get animators and I'll teach them a little trick. It's like, I want you to look at someone and tell me what's their story, what they're all about. The reason why I say that is, example, and we always talk about like, the punch, right? Or throwing the ball, but the punch, right? It's like, it's easy to make movement, right? My hand moves, right? Or a punch. We're going to talk about punch. Is you need to observe and learn what you're trying to communicate, right? And I have a full class to talk about communication, like how the body communicates, how that understanding how to observe what you're trying to say and say it will have a gigantic impact on the performance of your piece. When you look at, DreamWorks, Disney, you look at an animation like, oh man, it's so well done. It feels so real. The acting's great. The action's awesome. These dragons on Game of Thrones are so wow, right? They feel like they're real. Well, it's because we observe a lot of things. Well, one, you should practice observing, right? You can also do like quick gestures, right? Just, if you can draw. I can't draw anymore. Like I used to draw, but I can't draw for my life. But, just drawing like, a quick gesture and saying, does this gesture show what the character is thinking? Does this gesture reflect how he feels, right? That is a great exercise. Improv, that's something I picked up later in my career, but man, how it has done wonders for my career, right? And one, gets rid of stage fright, but at least for my acting, right? Or like breaking down, explaining a shot to, to a different studio or a different team, or to the team here, doing some improv is things. But animation, man, the bouncing ball is it. I know I was on the bouncing ball, man. If you can make a ball, show how exciting, I know why I have this, right? But how, if a ball comes in and shows it's supposed to be really happy and it's really excited, right? It's different than make a really nice bouncing ball, right? This is just movement. Now make me one, a ball that comes in that's sad, right? Just a ball, just a bouncing ball that's sad. That's an exercise I would love you to just show me. That would impress me. If you could show me a bouncing ball that comes in sad, and you can convey sad in one little ball, now you start unlocking the key to animation, right? When Frank and Ollie, I have a picture of Frank and Ollie here. The key to animation is sincere, to be sincere or to be true, right? Right? It has to be true. If you can show sadness in a ball, now you understand what sadness, how sadness feels. That's a hard exercise, man. You can do little things. It doesn't need to be big. You don't need to go, I want to do a run cycle. Like, no, just the ball is a start. And then you can move up maybe to the lamp, like the Pixar lamp. How the Pixar lamp is a great exercise that they do at Pixar, right? If you get an internship at Pixar, you start off with a ball and a lamp. And you're like, well, I got in Pixar an internship, and you're going to animate a ball in a lamp, right? So when we tell you that the ball is really important, it's a ball, but what story can you tell? The ball comes in and he's angry, dum, 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 dum. That changes everything. Do the bouncing ball, master it, do 1 million of them. I do bouncing balls all day. I do sound animation all the time. That makes you a great animator. And then eventually, senior, lead, and director is balls, man, bouncing balls.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, how much do you recommend exploring different things? Like you just mentioned sound design. Like, do you think that helps build someone up as an artist?
Oh yeah, you should. I've done a small piece, which is on our Vimeo page. It's a trick, right? It's not like I reinvented the wheel, right? This is Andy Knight was a Disney animator who passed away many years ago. And he was hard on me, man. Oh God, I love this guy. He was hard. That's why I'm a little hard, because of him. I was really, really nice and sweet until I met him. I was animating Pinocchio, and he wouldn't let me touch animation until I thumbnail it out, right? And one thing that came up from that, I do all my thumbnails and present the planning and why, and then put it on a dope sheet and all that is like, okay, what does it sound like, right? How does it feel? many animators use sound. Sound design helps you understand. So I did a video of how to animate or find how to make your animation better with sound, right? You just sound it out. So I would, in the video, in 3 minutes, there's the two versions. The one in 3 minutes for those who don't have much time, they just want to get straight to the meat of it. And then there's like a 45-minute lecture. Literally, what I learned, and this is because of part by Andy, but also because of, working with other directors and sound directors, and I was like the sound, the timing, the rhythm, the tempo of it. Well, that came from sound design. I would record the feeling, right? Imagine you're doing a run cycle, right? And I was like, this feels too slow, feels too fast. Imagine if you did this. I'm going to do a run cycle. I'm going to record how fast the run is. So was it 6 frames, 8 frames, 12 frames? Man, I have the sound. I take the sound, I put it in Maya. I can see the beats, the spikes. Every spike is a foot plant. Now, when I put my pose on those spikes, I have the timing of my animation. So that came from learning and studying sound and how sound has an impact on the audience. I talked about that. Like sound is a powerful thing. Well, you're animating, your character talks, your character breathes, and when he's moving around and he's going to grab the water bottle, he doesn't just grab and lift. Maybe he's going to slide it. I don't know if you heard that, but make it a little louder, but right. That sound, and he grabs the water bottle, I would record it because I'm like, he's going to slide. I'm like, I learned that from trying different things and exposing myself to different arts, right? If you want to, expose yourself to photography, right? Make sure you have a great composition, it's staged right. What are you trying to sell, right? Study, study everything you can. Don't limit yourself. You don't have to become a master at it, but try things out, listen to things. There's all kinds of amazing things on YouTube that you can just kind of you have a choice, right? Netflix, or say, you know what, this 20 minutes on something else. If you get something out of it, 25 years from now, it could do wonders for yourself, could do wonders for your career and for your future. So yes, try things, listen to things, right? There's cinematography is it's an art itself, right? Previs, it's an art, all these things, you just expose yourself. Oh, that's pretty much all I can say, is just try to expose yourself to things, live life.
Awesome. We talked a lot about basic exercises or ways to get into the industry. I was wondering if we could jump to the opposite. I was wondering if we could jump to the opposite end of the spectrum. Talk about what kind of day-to-day responsibilities that you have that people who are hoping to get the same position as you might need to perform.
The responsibilities that I have that they will get to perform.
Yeah, something that they need to be ready for. What kind of things do you do? Oh
man. Okay, so here it is, right? Depending on the animator, right? Sometimes I give more responsibility. Finding proper reference, right? Like I said, I'm like hit shot. I know my shot in and out. That makes for a great performance, right? So they should learn how to get good reference. At least find it, right? And what is good reference? Everyone things like that, and provide good reference. So something that I animate, and if I do a master class, but other instructor that teaches the same way is when you give a reference and I animate, and it's hey, you're gonna do a punch, right? So we're gonna do a punch, and you're here's a punch, right? Technically, that's a punch, right? It's a fist in the face, right? That's a punch. And you give here, I got this cool punch on the internet, and it's, it's 1 minute and 50 seconds, and there's the punch. I'm okay, so first of all, your reference should be kind of the same timing of what you're trying to do in your shot. So don't give me a minute 50 reference when your shot is 45 frames. Okay, learn to get good reference. 2, understand what is good reference, right? The character is supposed to be brave and powerful, and you give me this. Well, that doesn't look really brave and powerful. Fine. Quality reference. You will realize it sounds silly, but the investment of understanding what you're trying to communicate or what you're trying to grasp or do has more importance. Now, if you're going to do your own reference, which I think you should, only want to practice and realize that, you're probably not as good as you think you are. You're not a good actor, right? But at least you're going to experience, understand is learn how to shoot your own reference so you can understand what you're trying to achieve. And then maybe ask someone else to do the reference, what maybe has more experience or professional actors or stunt actors, but do your reference. I think just that understanding and planning and figuring things out, that is the most important. Like even my associate director on Watch Dogs, right? I mean, like, okay, we have this like big shoot, $40,000 shoot for a day, right? You know, one day shoot, $40,000. I was like, okay, but like, I was like, okay, what are we doing here? This is the plan. I'm like, okay, cool. Prep it, right? No animating. No, like, hey, we're going to jump in. Okay, we're going to throw, 20 animators on this. Hell no. Knowing what you're trying to achieve is the same rule as a director as if you're going to do your first demo reel. Let's talk about your demo reel, right? If your demo reel you want to get into Disney, well, you're going to need a Disney demo reel with good acting, show some maybe a very short emotional piece, show a little theatrical musical piece where the character is like, he comes in sliding, hey, I'm singing in the rain, cut, right? It was like 4 seconds. That's all you need just to show. Well, that is called prepping. You know what you need to do to get in Disney. You need to show Disney work, right? Well, plan it out what you need before just jumping and animating. It always comes to that for myself because that means you're ready. You understand what you're trying to do. So learn how to get reference because your reference is going to be with you for the rest of your life. Every shot, every complicated shot you're going to do, any big production that you want to join, you're like, hey, I want to work at, ILM or Pixar or whatever. Pretty much everyone at some point does a reference of it. Look at Blizzard. Like, we have a lot of instructors that come from Blizzard and you see Blizzard, some of the instructors and animators share their work, how they're doing fight sequence, right? They're older animators, that have kids like myself, but they're still shooting reference, but they know how to shoot reference. They know why they're shooting reference. They know the intention, right? The 3 eyes, man, the 3 eyes. You should be learning this, right? Intention, identity, and intensity, right? If no one's telling you this, well, you don't know. So it sounds crazy, but I said, man, learn to do reference because there you're going to find the truth, the good truth of it, the sincerity of what you're trying to accomplish for the audience to enjoy and love. And then you're going to say, okay, I get it. I know how. I know what's the right pose, the right timing, the right distance, how it looks to camera. And now I'm going to apply that into my shot. I mean, storyboard, right? Storyboard is pretty much a reference on paper, right? Storyboard's a reference on paper. Well, if you're going to do CG animation, your video reference is practically the same thing. So reference is king for me. Or understanding is king for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we just had someone in the chat saying the 3 eyes were intention, identity, and what was the last one?
Intensity. Yes. And when you understand that, right, I can tell you right now, right, and this is a part of my masterclass that I've done. Maybe I'll do it another time, but do the 3 eyes. Like, let's take oh man, if I had it ready, I'll just pop up the slide. But let's imagine someone jumping off a cliff, right? So if you think about the identity, right? Who's the person, right? Now, someone's going to jump off the cliff. Is it a clown? He jumps off the cliff, right? Is it is it a young person, out of college and he jumps and he's so brave, woo, right? Or is it a Navy SEAL that jumps and crosses his legs and pierces the water, but it's not too loud, it goes deep, comes out with his weapon, right? Who's the character, man? Do you know, right? Sometimes you see a great animation, great movement, no performance. Great movement, great. This is beautiful, clean, everyone looks nice, character looks cool, is rendered, but has no performance. Well, one, do you even know who the character is, right? What's the intention of the character or the situation? Do you even know, right? I don't feel like I'm giving a class, right? Do you even know, right? Jumping off the cliff. Why? Right? He's getting shot at, right? Is it the college kid and he sees, all his friends are like, go, 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 jump, 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 because I had a little too much drink, or he's trying to impress someone? What's the intention of that character? Do you even know? Oh, now I got you thinking, right? All right. And then what's the intensity of it, right? Is he feeling excited, or is he scared? I was like, oh shit, or it's like, whoa, like what's the intensity of it? How's it supposed to be? Does codes come in, out fast? I mean, do you get that at school? No, right? That's the difference. Industry ready, right? You want to learn from those who are actually in the studios, calling the shots or requesting it or doing it. School is great because you're going to learn a lot of things, but there's a difference. So if you're not getting that, then you're not ready, right? I know it sounds so bad, and I'm like, but I feel like I'm just like reliving my youth. I'm like, oh my God, I remember trying to get in, and when Andy was like, he's like, okay, what's that? And I was like, he's looking at me, and I was like, that's my animation. I'm like all excited, like animated Pinocchio. I was like, yeah, he's like, what is this? Like it's Pinocchio, he's all happy. He's like, this is crap. He just like not approved. Don't touch the computer. Go sit there and get me some few dope sheet papers and some paper, pen, and go plan it out. Like I laugh at it because I'm reliving it right now for you guys. And I was just mortified. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not even ready. And I was like, like my friends thought it was good. And he's like, are your friends Disney animators? Right? Are your friends the supervisor? Right? Are your friends the standard that you're trying to hit? My friend. And I was like, oh no. So I relearned.
I like what this person in the chat says. No sugarcoating here.
No. Like if I sugarcoat, it would not do you any justice. It would not do you any good. Now, I don't want to put you down, but I want to do is rebuild you and help you. That's what, like, if you took my class, well, I don't teach because I'm pretty hardcore, but we have phenomenal instructors. Let me tell you, like they're all awesome. We all have our own style of teaching, and like I said, I got a little influenced by Andy and everyone that kind of helped forge my career and who I am today. But yeah, imagine it's like, oh yeah, no, it's good, and then you go up to you're if imagine we're at CTN in Burbank, and there's the booth and the Disney booth, and you're there you were like, oh, so many people told me it was good, and you go there and you have high hopes, and then you realize they're like, oh yeah, that's nice, yeah, okay, well you need to continue working on it. They can't just say no, they don't want to like ruin your dreams, but that, they just can't say yes, right? And sometimes it's hard to tell you why. Well, instead of me just saying it's just not good, I could tell you like, hey, do you realize what it takes to be good? Do you realize, are you asking the right question? By asking the right question, perhaps you're going to have a little perspective on what you need or where you need to go to get there, right? That's why when I built, Animate or help build Animate and do Animate games, is like, I'm going to build it in a way where it is really true. And I'm going to take the lessons I learned from, some Disney animators and Pixar animators and all these amazing, directors, supervisors that I get to work with. And I was like rebuilding, and I'm like, this is the truth. And this is what I would love people who have learned, or wish that I learned when I was at school, that I didn't get to learn. And I had to reteach myself, and then, and then find a mentor, right? I had, like, Andy was my mentor. He was one of my, there's Phil also, that was my mentor. And I still have a mentor right now, totally different, at a different level, right? When you talk about, studio owners and major directors, like I have a mentor that runs a whole studio, and that's my mentor because that's where I'm at. But I had mentors throughout my career to help me get there and get perspective of what is it, or what does it take to get there, or what are they expecting. That's his honesty. So maybe it's too honest,
Yeah,
but hey,
I think everyone here appreciates the honesty. And I don't want to take up your whole evening. So I think we might just do one last question and, let you go on your way. The last question is, do you feel it's important to master body mechanics before you tackle identity, intention, and intensity? Or do you try to just include all of it from the start?
Well, no, body mechanics is key, right? Range of motion, right? Your ROM, right? Really important. Like that's something that I teach. And the mechanics of is key, right? Before like what I teach, there's a the system, which is it's simple, right? I'll give it to you guys in a bullet, right? There's the mechanics, right? Body mechanics, just the mechanics of anything, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be directing something, just understanding the mechanics. But understanding the mechanics is the foundation before you get to the expression or gesture, right? So there's a pyramid. If you would take any of my classes, you need to understand mechanics. So you don't the three I's is right after you understand mechanics. Now you're going to start, you can still think about it, right? But you shouldn't be rushing it. Foundation is key because like I said, I animate, we have beginners and we have people that have been doing it for like 10 years and they come back and they be side by side from someone who just started because their foundation is not there. You want a strong comprehension of animation, have a strong foundation before you go in, because if you try to come in, you're not ready, and you come on on a big project or something, and then you might panic. You're like, I can't animate this. How do you animate how do you animate a frost giant with Thor jumping on him and then they're rolling? Like, before you even get there, you should get that mechanics, because that's gonna help you become a great animator and tackle all those things. So do learn body mechanics before you go try to do any big performance, because the mechanics is the foundation of the performance, because then you will know how to make a performance feel even more real or more grounded, right? So get that. And if you need help, or you don't know, you want suggestions, I can tell you, like, hey, here, our feature workshops, like there's like 3 workshops on body mechanics, because it is so important. And we have like Pixar animators teaching body mechanics. And like we said before, when you go to Pixar, you do a bouncing ball and the lamp exercise before you do the, just the arm and ball or the finger exercise, if they still do that. It's just the mechanics, right? Because once you understand how the finger moves and you're holding an object in here, then you realize how things move with the arms and wrists and elbows and shoulder range of motion. We just talked about it 20 seconds ago, like range of motions. The mechanics of that is important. Now, when you understand the mechanics, now you can understand Richard is an animated person. He moves a lot. His shoulder is moving a lot. How does his shoulder go all the way up, all the way down? No, there's a little bit of movement. And when his wrist is moving, his shoulders doesn't move that much. But when I'm like this, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm talking expressive. The mechanics of it's here. The expression is coming out of here. This is how it's working. And this is why now I can understand the intensity and start going into the crafting of the performance. But you need to know the mechanics first. Like this, man, it's key. It's key. That's what I can say. I'm having fun tonight. I might be tired too, because I've been working too much. But
to me, it kind of sounds like the mechanics are like your building blocks, but you're not studio ready until you've mastered those 3 I's.
Well, the 3 I's is not even like the 3 I's is just, that's something I would teach a little bit later. I just dropped it and just dropped a little knowledge like that. But I would work on just understanding like how the body moves. If you're talking like biped, or, if you're going to take the creature workshops, like the first creature workshop, it's like, how does a creature move? How does it walk? Why? What muscles? How the bones built? That's the mechanics. Like that's all the technical aspects before even thinking about the creature's performance, right? How, like, why does a cat walk like this? How does it work with its hips? And what's the gates of the walk? And that's all the mechanics. You have to have that. The 3 I's is in part of the gesture, the expression, right? The emotion of it, right? When you take, if you join one more workshop, you You'll get, you guys can talk about it more in the workshop and do some exercises, but that's something else, right? But even the three eyes, understanding the intention of it, right? There's a mechanics on it. It's like, what's intention? That's the mechanical part of the three eyes, is what's intention, what I'm trying to achieve, right? If I understand that, now I can say, okay, here's the intention. The intention is to show this is a very dramatic jump over the ledge, right? We're going to have the character jump over the ledge into the ocean. It's to show him jump, right? He's going to jump, and the intention is also to show that he's a young character and that he's brave. Okay, cool. What's the identity of the character? Well, he's young. And he's a college student. Okay, cool. Has he been in the swim team? Yes, he has. Well, maybe he might dive head first, right? Last time I told him he dive, wee, right? Or maybe, he's part of the swim team and he's used to diving and he wants to impress his friends, right? You had a few drinks and, there's some nice people there, everyone's wearing their bikinis and stuff and, swimsuits, and everyone's like, and, not to tell me like me, but he's like wanting to show impress, so he might dive head first and like do the whole woo kind of dive, right? What's the identity, right? And it's like, before you go into all that, you gotta do you even know how to make a character run and jump over a ledge, right? Do you even know what happens to the arms, legs, and thighs and back, and what happens when he thrusts, right? If he's going to thrust and jump and arch his back, is going to thrust, jump, and dive forward. Do you know what the body does? So don't worry about the performance until you understand how to make a character move the the proper way. Understand that mechanics before you even go to say, man, I'm going to make it super fly. He's going to go awesome. No, even the hands, is he running with his fist closed because he's thrusting hard, or is he hands because he's excited? That is an expression. But when he runs, you got to understand how the body runs, right? If you're running fast, you tend to clench, right? Well, that's the mechanics about it, right? So understand the mechanics before worrying about the performance. Once you get the mechanics, performance becomes so much more fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and answering all these questions. But before we let you go, I'd like to give you the chance to have any sort of final words or to plug anything that you might want to plug.
Yes. I mean, first, we have a cool podcast. There's so much learning. We have fun. We talk about animation. We talk about, other directors, other supervisors, animators, careers, how they get into it. I mean, it's really honest. It's not just like my story, it's other people's stories. So you can hear we all struggled. We all started somewhere and what it took to get into the industry. So watch our podcast, follow us on social media. You can follow me as well, but, follow iAnimate on social media. We have Jason and Ryan snippets. We have Inside iAnimate showing little tips and tricks of our workshops. There's so much you can learn from that, just listening to that. And, if you have any questions or, questions about, joining our program or anything, you can email me. You can email me at rick@ianimate.net. Or, you can even email Jason at ianimate.net about our programs. And excuse me. And I want to pay for it. I'm very grateful that I made it all the way here in my career. It's because I had help, right? I had someone that was like, yeah, what is this? And because of that, I was able to build this and I can help others. So for me, this is just my way, is creating a program which will help others get into this amazing career. There's so much potential, so much growth. The film industry, Disney, Amazon, Netflix, they're doing so many great projects. There's a lot of great opportunity. So if you want to learn from us, by all means, join in. I'm just going to put it in the chat just so everyone knows my email. You can just email me. If you have want to join, have questions, I'll do my best to respond to you as quickly as possible. And then our workshop starts in January. We already had two, I think it's 2 feature workshops already sold out. You know, we tend to sell out quick, but they're great programs. And that's why if you really want to learn and you realize you're like, hey, maybe I'm not ready, then you know that we're here to help, man. I mean, that's as simple as that. It's you make your choice. It's your choice to do what you want with your career. So own it, be accountable for your own success. Right. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for staying so late with us.
It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you again. And thank you everyone in the chat for your amazing questions. We hope you all, oh yeah, it looks like a lot of people are saying that they learned so much. Yes.
They awesome. Did. I don't even see the chat. I mean, I wasn't really I mean, if others have questions, I really don't mind. Like I took the day off tomorrow just because like I said, I've been doing so much. I took the day off, but talking to students and, having the chance to kind of share my story or help someone. I love doing this. So I don't mind if, I can open another Zoom room if you guys want. I'm really open to that. I can spend a little bit more time. If you guys want to talk face to face a little bit, I'm cool with that. And if not, then, you can always email me. I love doing this. Because you guys inspire me. Like it motivates me, reminds me where I started and how hard I worked and all that commitment, how much it was great, that it was worth it. And why I continue to push and try to break that glass ceiling or the industry. You guys really motivate me. So that's why, if you guys want to talk more, I'm totally open.
I mean, I just didn't want to waste up your whole evening. Our next panel isn't until for another 20 minutes. If you want to answer, some more questions from the chat here.
By all means, I'm cool. I like I said, I love. Yes, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll you know what? We'll do it like quick. I'll try not to talk so much because directors tend to talk a lot. So, is there any other question? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump to some of these other questions. This one I don't really understand. Maybe it's because I'm not in like the motion capture world, but
wait, I would like to answer this one. Diego, okay. Right? He's quadriplegic.
Yeah, that's the one I was about to ask. Yeah, go.
Let me tell you, I had Phil Giles, right? He was a Disney animator and a commenter, and he had disability and he couldn't, he had like short legs and he couldn't he couldn't sprint, right? Wonderful guy. He really helped me in my career, but he was a pretty damn good animator. His sense of observation was great. 2, he understand what he needed to do and how to do it, right? So if he couldn't do it, he found great reference, and if he couldn't find great reference, he asked someone and he can animate. So that will not limit you, right? Your imagination and the time to become great is really the hardest thing. Would motion capture make it easier? Yes, it could potentially make it easier. And if you become a technical animator, right, not a craftsman to great performance at first, perhaps if you look at technical animators are in great need, man, they're hard to find. That could be you're in, like you learn like a game engine and you learn how to put animation in and create animation tree, state machines and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if you got a call from me, right? I'm like, hey, we need a tech animator, right? And you get a nice desk and you get to animate on big projects. That could be your in.
Someone's asking, who was the animator?
Well, I don't think he's an animator anymore because it sometimes after many years gets hard. But his name is Phil Giles. He was a really cool guy, man. He was actually my animation director on my first movie, if I remember correctly. Really cool guy. But he doesn't animate. Last time I remember, he doesn't animate. He, I think he might be back at Disney or Island, but really, really cool. Yes, Diego. Right, man. I got you, brother.
Yeah. Another question here, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer this one because it's coming from a 2D animator.
Yes.
But he's wondering if should shots in a portfolio be inked and painted or just fully in between? I feel like maybe this could even apply to 3D animation. Like, does
Yeah.
the model need to be fully rendered, or is it all just about the motion?
So let's be honest, right? When it's rendered, it looks pretty, right? It can influence, right? You're in the business of influencing the audience, right? Influence the make a great performance and make the audience cry or feel. You're in the business, you're in the entertainment business. Now, some people are like, oh no, you don't need to render a shot. I just want to see good acting. That is true. If the director is a super seasoned director and really has that eye, understand he doesn't care that it's rendered or inked. However, not everyone's at that level. So if you want to improve your chance, it doesn't need to be complicated. Remember, it's not about making big and complicated. It's about making those sweet little bites that makes me remember you, right? You start off with a great shot. The second shot is really great. The third shot is really great. If you only have 3 shots, they should be all great. If you have 10 shots, they should be all great. So all to say, you don't need to ink it, but it will look better. It will look better. If it looks better, it could be that little 5% that made the difference. So I tell our animators, hey, render your shot. Play blasts are cool, but if you want to make the show real, or you want us to share your work, or you want to like someone notice your work, make sure it's rendered. Honest.
It kind of sounds like a quality over quantity there. When you said if you only have 3 shots.
Yeah. I mean, it's one shot. Like I don't know. I remember one shot. Sylvain is an animator at Ubisoft. He took my workshop. He did one shot. I tried to hire him. It didn't work out, right? And I fought to hire him. And then second time I tried to hire him personally on like a freelance job. It didn't work out because I didn't get the gig, the contract. And eventually we did hire him. Another studio hired him, and I was like, oh man, I was like, God damn, like we didn't hire him. Like when I trained him, he's really good. He did one shot. The first shot he did, I was like, I like him. One shot, just one shot, and I was already trying to hire him. He did another shot, finished the workshop, continued, and then got it. But now he's at Ubisoft. But one shot, if that shot is good, great. Oh, here's the trick. Here's the honest tip, right? You're as good as your worst shot. Okay. So if you have a phenomenal, great shot, and then your other shot is, shots from school, and you're really proud to do it, and you put it in your reel, don't do that. Don't do that. Just put good stuff, because whatever is the worst shot, to me, that is your standard. That is the base. Your best shot is what I'm hoping to get out of you. Your worst shot is what I expect to get out of you. So if your worst shot is really crappy, then I'm like, that's kind of his level. If your worst shot is like, it's not that bad, and he does really good, then I'm like, this is what he can do every day. And every now and then he can do this. Now, if you close the gap and everything's really good, then I'm like, man, he or she is really good. So quality, not quantity.
You talked a little bit about being a tech animator earlier. This next question is asking, what's the difference between a tech animation and a technical artist? Is it the same thing?
A tech animation is a little bit closer to, integrating animations in game, creating, state machines, animations, machines, and they might do some light rigging. A tech artist will be really like, they will do more of the rigging. They'll do more of some of the scripting. They'll also do some of the heavy work and dealing with memory budget and stuff like that. So before you even get there, usually, you start with the rigging, and then you start like, I like rigging a lot. And then you add Python, and then from Python, you learn scripting. So it's not like you just go to one place and, hey, I want to become a tech artist, right? It's more like, I want to become, a technical artist. And then from there, it gets even more, so learning like Unreal. Right. Unreal is a big thing, or Unity, which is, I literally talked to a studio that needed help with that. Just someone that can help with Unity. And another studio was like someone that can help just with Unreal. If you learn that and you become really great, and we have that, if you, when you take, join the Game Workshop and you get up to the Game Workshop 3 or an alumni, we just announced, or we're going to announce, so surprise, that we give access to all the Unreal workshops. So you can literally, you take the Game Workshop, you graduate, or you you join a gaming workshop and you just want to learn on the side because you're tired of animating, and you're like, instead of watching a Netflix show, you're gonna watch the Unreal lectures. You can do that too. So if you learn any of those two engines, right, virtual production is skyrocketing. There's not many people that there's a big win in there, big interest. So
our next question is coming from someone that sounds like they're already planning on signing up for, I think, your Game and Monsters course.
oh, the creature course.
Yeah, they want to know what they can do now to prepare for it before they join or before it starts.
I think it's finding reference. It's funny when you said that, right? You're going to join the creature workshop, right? You can go on our website and you can see our rigs. One, think of what you're trying to do, right? One, you want to learn. Two, you're trying to get a reel, a reel so you can have to show for it. Three, you trying to stand out. So, we have a monkey that hasn't been used really that much. So start looking at some bamboo animation. See what could you do to create a nice bamboo walk. And you're like, I got a cool bamboo walk. I really been looking at it, been really studying. I'm going to come with all my reference ready. Bamboo walk, bamboo fighting, trying to steal a banana, something from a cat, like these kind of things you think would be great to show as a creature reel piece. If you have some good ideas, develop them. Don't try to come finished. Don't try to come with a complete idea. Come open with like, here's the idea. And when you join the workshop, you say, hey guys, my name is Richard. I want to join the creature workshop because I always want to get into the VFX industry. And, I saw Rick's talk and I came with some reference, and I already have reference ready. And I would love to show you guys what I was thinking of doing. And I'm like, all right, cool. You took Johnny's class, and Johnny's like, oh, cool. That's really good. We do have a monkey. That'd be really great. We're going to shorten it already. You're helping yourself come ready. So gather your ideas. Look at all the students' work. See the ones that really appeal to you. Like, oh, they have a dragon. I want to do a nice dragon piece. Don't just do the same piece someone does. See what you can do. Simple, straight to the point. Great, but short. Think of what you want to do or what you want to have on your reel. I think that would be the best answer. And then, if we need to talk about more, maybe, we can tweet. You can tweet me or send me email, and maybe, find like a little 5 minutes to kind of reply to you or send you a video explanation. But I think that would be a really cool idea.
Awesome. And then our last question for tonight is asking about being an international animator, trying to get work in the US or Canada. Are there any remote positions available, or are there any sort of like barriers for them?
So
like permits or something.
Yeah. So it depends, right? If you are coming from Europe and you're trying to come into Canada or US, right? Well, the US one, it's a little bit, it's more difficult than it is in Canada. You need to have, a degree or some certificates that say, hey, you are actually a talent that the United States needs for you to come into the United States. Similar to Canada, if a Canadian studio wants to bring you from overseas, anywhere in Europe or anywhere around the world, they need to say, hey, this person has a talent that we need. And then, having a degree and some certificates will help. If you are in Canada or in the US and you're trying to get work outside Canada or US, it's not too hard, because we have in North America, we have a lot of training here, and typically the animators are right now, it's the gap is closing. I won't lie, the gap is closing. We're typically a little bit more prepared. So if you have experience, then you can go. They'll send you a ticket and they'll fly you to over there. You grab an apartment and you start your career in Europe. It's pretty cool. The pay is not the same because Europe is its own little thing, but it is possible. Now we have more and more remote animators. Like iAnimate's been everything's remote with iAnimate. We've been remote for 10 years. All our instructors are, and that's the advantage, because you get to learn from directors but remote animators is becoming common. That means you could be in Ohio and you can work for me, here in Montreal. Right, because now I'm no longer in California, I'm in Montreal. So remote animators is becoming more common, and yeah, I mean the future is pretty bright for the young artists, right? There's a lot of great potential. The fact that you can work remotely, I think that's a leverage that young animators should use, right? There's going to be a lot of small studios looking for animators. The seasoned or really, the veterans or older animators, that have a lot of responsibility might not want to go to another country or work remotely for a smaller studio. You can, right? You want in, right? Look at it from a different angle. Like there's a lot of small studios that don't pay too much, but stay home, right? I went back home after, because I was broke, best decision in my life. Stay home. Don't try to get no apartment. Don't buy no car, right? If you don't need no car, you don't need no car, really. Just ride a bike, right? Stay home, work from remote, get the experience, apply to those remote jobs. There's a lot of little remote jobs. It might be for like 3 months, but hey, man, that's 3 months more experience that you got there than anywhere else. So can you become an animator or get a job overseas? Yes, you can. It's harder if you don't have the experience. So, but you can get experience with smaller studios, and you can get experience from studios across the world that are looking for remote animators. Apply to it, and they're like, oh, even they say no, they're like, oh, you were looking for someone more experienced. You can say, look, can I at least do one character for free? Why? You're going to learn. You're going to have someone that's going to tell you this doesn't work, right? And eventually it's going to work. It's going to make it into the movie or the TV series or the game, and then you're going to get credit. Now you have experience, and you can then go to the other studios like, hey, you looking for anime? Yes. Do you have experience? I have experience, right? I have experience. So think about that. Experience is, it's really important, but you could get a job anywhere. You just got to find the right angle. All to say is find the right angle.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's some fantastic advice to end the night on, because that was our last question, and we are about 10 minutes away from our next panel. So I will let you go and rest up. I know you had a long day.
Yes.
But it sounds like if anybody wants to connect with you, you put your email in the chat. There's ianimate.net.
Yes. You guys can reach me, or, I'll probably be on Twitter now. Right. So by all means, if you have any question about our programs, email me. I'm glad to give any advice, and listen to the podcast, and, follow our Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And there's a lot of cool little things that help you, and just look at what they're doing, and maybe you can learn something from it. So again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that's it. That's a wrap.
Awesome. I'm just going to thank you one last time, because I feel like I need to, because it was such a good talk. Thank you for staying over. Yeah, that was so good.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. We got someone asking for a link for the podcast. I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah. It's if you go to our website, and there's a podcast section, which I'm just going to copy and paste it here. We literally had a great podcast with Patrick. Really great learnings, and it's a great story he has, and I definitely recommend it. You guys listen to some of these podcasts, because they're really, really good lessons. I shared my thoughts, but hearing their stories, and he's an animator from France that now works at DreamWorks. Great experience, great story. So listen to them, and if you want to join, classes start in January, but email me, and I'll help you out, and I'll tell you what will be good. If you need career advice, let me know. I'll tell you where I think you should do if you want to join our programs. Okay.
Awesome. And if you can't see the chat, the podcasts are at ianimate.net/podcasts.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. And that's it.
All right. Thank you again. Have a great evening.
All right. Cheers.